Good morning and welcome to MHK All Day. I'm Braxton Jones.
And I'm Callie Ogborn. We've got a lot in store for you today, and as we enter the spring season, severe weather is sure to follow. I'll share some tips with you on how to stay safe when it strikes.
And we take a look at some of the most tweet-worthy topics that lit up the Twitterverse. A recent measles outbreak in Kansas has health officials investigating how people are contracting the virus. MHK All Day reporter Blake Reed has more on the story.
In Kansas, there are now 13 confirmed cases of the measles virus, 11 of those cases being in Johnson County and 1 each in Miami and Lynn County. The measles virus is extremely contagious and can be spread by things as simple as a cough or a sneeze. But there are precautions that you can take to steer clear of the virus. Here in Manhattan, there aren't any cases of measles yet, and Lafayette Health Center is hoping to keep it that way. I caught up with nursing coordinator Abby King, who tells us a little bit about how you can avoid getting the measles.
And it is preventable if you get 2 MMR vaccines, that's measles, mumps, and rubella. Symptoms for it usually start out very like a mild to moderate fever, cough, maybe sore throat, maybe even like itchy eyes or red eyes, and sore throat. And usually after a few days, they'll develop into, you'll notice some like tiny white spots in your mouth, and then it may even progress onto a rash that usually starts at the hairline and goes down the body.
According to the Kansas City Star website, there are now 14 identified public places where people may have been exposed to the virus. If you have recently been to these locations, for any reason, you should monitor yourself and look for symptoms over the next 3 weeks. And if you think you may be getting the measles, do not leave your home except to seek medical care. Even then, you should call ahead so that your healthcare provider can take precautions to protect its other patients. From Manhattan, Kansas, I'm Blake Reed, MHK All Day.
If you or someone that you know starts to have symptoms of the measles virus, call your healthcare provider immediately.
Another issue people are raising awareness about is sexual assault. To start off Sexual Harassment Awareness Month, the Center for Advocacy, Response, and Education is teaming up with the Union Program Council and K-State students to display powerful stories of victims of sexual assault. The What You Are Wearing Survivor art exhibit is displayed in William T. Kemper Foundation Art Gallery until April 6 to bring awareness to sexual assault and convey the message that it is not the victim's fault. The exhibit came as a personal project from one person from the care office. Gabby Hull from the care office reached out to UPC to recreate this here on campus. So she's part of the care office, and so she basically did a call for submissions, and it was anonymous, but survivors could write up a story of what they were wearing and what happened to them, as much detail as they wanted to give. And then she got clothes to represent those outfits and then printed them off. So basically it was just something that she was passionate about and wanted to bring awareness to K-State. And so yeah, she made it happen.
Tech giants like Facebook and Google record personal data on all devices using their apps. Following a recent scandal, millions are finding out just how much information is being recorded. MHK All Day reporter Josh Yankovic took a deeper dive into the story.
If you're like most people, you've probably logged into Facebook on more than just the app. Giving permissions to third-party apps is something people do regularly. But just what are you giving your permission for? You may have heard Facebook uses your information for targeted advertising, but beyond that, a world of data mining is going on right under our noses. Here's what some students had to say.
It makes me feel unsafe knowing so much of my personal information's out there, and all comes from just signing up to like a social media account. And
now that it's become something public that a lot of people know, I think that it's something that it's out there and that we should probably do something about it.
Last week, the public received word that data firm Cambridge Analytica indirectly harvested 50 million Facebook users' personal information in order to produce targeted ads intended to sway political opinions.
This is a big wake-up because perhaps this is one of the first times that people have said, oh, so that information is being used toward a specific end, or to, to put information into a database about voting interests and that type of thing.
Facebook published a blog post over the weekend where they admitted the only reason they were recording specific personal data was because users expressly gave them permissions to do so. Changing some privacy settings is the easiest way to start limiting the amount of information that you're sharing. To find out what Facebook's got on you, you can hit this drop-down arrow on any Facebook screen where you'll find settings. From there, you'll see a download a copy of your Facebook data link. To start limiting your data, you'll want to check the privacy settings for apps as well as ads. The only sure fix is deactivating completely, but internet surfers should keep this in mind. If you post it, it's permanent. In Manhattan, I'm Josh Yankovic, MHK All Day.
Sounds like some spring cleaning may be in order for our social media.
You know, Callie, speaking of spring, now that we're finally in the season, I'm sure there's some severe weather on the way.
Absolutely. Now, as a Kansas native, I'm sure you're no stranger to severe weather.
I mean, yeah, you know, when it happens, I like to sit outside, watch the tornadoes, chase them a little bit.
You know, that's pretty much not safe at all. But luckily, there was a celebrity on campus this week. Dr. Greg Forbes of the Weather Channel gave a guest lecture on tornadoes and severe weather. I checked it out to see if there are any tips I could share with you. As Kansans, we think we know about tornadoes and thunderstorms. The image of Dorothy and Toto cowering in their log cabin is essentially stamped on our foreheads. This week, Dr. Greg Forbes of the Weather Channel visited K-State for the Distinguished Lecture Series hosted by Sigma Xi, a fraternal organization on campus for the Scientific Research Society.
We sort of have the mindset, oh, well, I've seen tornadoes before, or we've had tornado warnings before, and I've had storms before. I've been through as bad as it's going to get. But the message here is that it can always be worse.
Forbes describes a tornado as a Goldilocks situation with just enough atmospheric instability and just enough wind shear. The recipe for tornadic activity is simple. Warm, moist air from the Gulf of Mexico combines with cool, dry air from Canada to create instability. As the warm air is pushed upwards by cool air, it forms a rapid updraft and condenses moisture into clouds and precipitation. If there's enough cool, linear wind shear at the base of the storm, the warm updraft can force this cool air into a horizontal rotating funnel, forming a violent supercell tornado. However, with weaker tornadoes, there's actually a greater risk and rate of death. 70% of tornado fatalities were by F3 tornadoes. Yes, we all go out and stand on our porches and we watch the clouds for rotations, but even in 2018, there's only a 13-minute window between warning sirens and the oncoming tornado. The safest place to be in a tornado is the lowest room in the building with no windows. Cover yourself with something sturdy and protect your neck with your hands. Even in a severe thunderstorm without the tornado, stay inside and away from windows to avoid dangerous lightning, strong winds, and large hail. Now that you know what to do in the case of a potentially dangerous storm, we're headed into the thick of it. April, bring on the showers. Braxton, I hope you learned some safe tips and actually follow them for the next time severe weather comes our way.
You know, after watching that, I think I'll stay inside next time. Yeah. After the break, we'll show you a small Kansas town with ties to a historic trail.
And we'll take a look at the week ahead with our community calendar. Stay tuned.
I was so pleased with what I saw on the discussion boards last night. Who started the module?
K-State Global Campus offers flexible online learning, the same name brand education, quality programs, and recognized award-winning professors with the flexibility to fit your life.
Here you are, sir. Can I get you anything else?
For your comfort and safety, light baggage must be stored in the overhead.
K-State Global Campus, always on, always there.
The best-kept secret in Manhattan is not a secret anymore. I'm Wyatt Thompson, the voice of the Wildcats, and welcome to JP's Sports Grill. With daily chef-inspired specials, a full bar, and a diverse menu that has something for everyone, this place is guaranteed to impress. JP Sports Grill, your new favorite spot.
I'm Kathleen from Meiningen, Germany.
I'm Ginger from Overland Park, Kansas.
I've traveled to London and saw the Parliament, studied in Mexico City, spent the summer in Austria, went skiing in the Alps. Oh, and I visited the Eiffel Tower in Paris.
Well, I've been to the world's largest ball of twine.
Can we go?
Of course!
Become an international buddy today and develop new friendships and experience different cultures.
Up next, the world's deepest hand-dug well
is it near the Grand Canyon?
Welcome back to MHK All Day. 150 years ago, Jesse Chisholm made a trail that ran from Texas to Abilene, Kansas. Callie, do you know what trail that is?
Well, I'm going to take a wild guess and go with the Chisholm Trail.
Exactly. That trail made Abilene the town that it is today, and MHK Day reporter Mason Voth went to check it out.
People know Abilene, Kansas for being the home of the 34th President, Dwight D. Eisenhower. But before it was home to Ike, it was home to the Chisholm Trail.
An important piece of the Southern economy. We were looking at the end of the Civil War. The Texas Longhorns and all their markets down there were struggling because, unfortunately, the markets they would use down south were all in rubble at this point. So they had to figure out a way of getting to the north.
What now looks like just your standard Kansas town, 150 years ago, Abilene, Kansas was one of the key points in what was the Chisholm Trail. Abilene comes into the equation due to one Jesse Chisholm.
Jesse Chisholm had been using this trail for his own personal use, and the Buffalo know one thing is the path of least resistance, how to get to point A to point B the easiest way. They were able to find that for us.
But with the boom of an important town comes the negative aspects.
The town had enough of the cowboys and the red light districts and all the horrible things that come, and so the good people of Abilene ended up pushing all the cowboys out to Ellsworth and then eventually Dodge City.
It was that unruliness that brought in Wild Bill Hickok into town and set up stories that may have molded Abilene's favorite son.
One of the gentlemen who lived across the street from Ike and his family when he was growing up had been one of Wild Bill Hickok's deputies. So Ike, as a young boy, was hearing all kinds of stories of the Wild West, what was Abilene's cowboy heyday.
Dwight Eisenhower carried that love of his hometown and the Chisholm Trail stories all the way to the end of his life.
And one of the last books he was reading was a pulp fiction western called The Man from Abilene. So I think that's just sort of a nice poetic touch that we can add to the Chisholm Trail story and the Eisenhower connection.
150 years later, Abilene still remembers and can thank Jesse Chisholm for making the town that it is today. From Abilene, Mason Voth, MHK All Day.
It has been suggested that if it wasn't for the Chisholm Trail, there's a chance that Dwight Eisenhower would have never been from Kansas.
Well, speaking of trails in the open road, it's about that time where high school seniors start preparing to head off to college, and having the right vehicle for the journey is pretty important.
To help you make a more informed choice, MHK All Day reporter Jack Bresser has information on a good college car.
So you just graduated high school and you've been working all year and saving up all your money to buy a car for college. So what should you buy? A nice sporty sports car that you've always wanted, or a versatile SUV? So today, to help you make your decision, I've got a 2004 Nissan 350Z, and behind me is a 2004 Honda Pilot. So just based on size, it might seem like the Honda is a little bit more versatile than the 350, but that's wrong, and I'm going to prove it right now. Now, college students sometimes have a lot of stuff that they'll need to move in and out of dorms or apartments. So I've gathered a couple things here that a typical college student might have, such as a 32-ounce tumbler, a cooler, a KSU JMC camera case, and a really cool bungee chair. So let's start with an easy one, like the 32-ounce tumbler. Now, the 350 only has one cup holder, but it can fit most cups. All right, so it couldn't fit the 32-ounce tumbler, but what most people don't know is that the 350 is actually a hatchback, so it should be able to fit this cooler just fine. Okay, that's fine, but let's try the chair now. The chair should be just fine. See? All right, now to put the camera case inside the 350. All right, so the 350 didn't do great, but there's no way that the Honda is going to be able to carry everything. All right, sure, it can fit everything without folding down the seats, but there's no way that the cup holders are good. They're good. 2 cup holders. Must be nice. So there you have it. In this situation, the Honda is the better choice. This is my car. I own this.
Well, it looks like Jack may be experiencing some buyer's remorse, but hey, At least he bought the car he always wanted.
I'm sure it seemed like a good idea at the time, but enough about cars. It's time to see what's going on next week in the Little Apple. Brianne Smith is here to show us with the MHK Community Calendar. Bree?
Thanks, Callie. This week on the MHK Community Calendar, we have everything from cooking lessons to tech training, so let's get right into it. To start the week off on Monday, the Cats Cupboard and Housing Dining and Services are teaming up to host their event, You Can Cook, Small Space Cooking, No Stove Required. It will be held at the Kramer Dining Center in room 241 at 4:30 p.m. Those in attendance will learn recipes from small cooking spaces, try new foods, and learn basic food budgeting. Are technology issues causing you a headache? Well, then you might want to head to the Manhattan Public Library on Tuesday for their drop-in tech training. If you can stop by the auditorium from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. to receive one-on-one training to help answer your technology questions. If you're wanting to learn more about local businesses in Manhattan, then this program is for you. At 8 a.m. in the Wareham Opera House, 1 Million Cups MHK is bringing in Blue Vista and Little Apple doulas to present their businesses to those in the community. Each presentation will be followed up by an audience question and answer. On Thursday, the College of Arts and Sciences at K-State is hosting its 3rd annual Student Diversity Summit from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. in the courtyard of the Student Union. The summit will focus on growing together through adversity and will feature student speakers as well as an interactive panel discussion. If you're looking to unwind and start your weekend off right, on Friday, Auntie May's Parlor is having a jazz night from 7 p.m. until 10 p.m. They will be playing classics as well as original compositions. There is a $5 cover charge, and you must be 21 or older to enter. Thanks. That's all we have on this week on the community calendar. Back to you, Braxton and Callie.
Thanks, Bree. Coming up in sports, find out how the K-State baseball team fared in their matchup against the Texas Longhorns.
And what draws international athletes to K-State's tennis program.
Schultz one, high and deep to left, goodbye.
Shot to right, K-State's going to try and score 2. Another play at the plate, but this time Brevin slides past the tag. And Brad Hill is the all-time winningest coach in K-State history.
Spot that I love full well.
'Tis not in forest, nor yet in dell. Ever it holds me with magic spell.
I think of thee, alma mater.
We'll carry thy banner high. Long, long. May thy colors fly.
Loyal to thee, thy children will swell the cry. Hail, 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 alma mater.
Welcome back to MHK All Day. While the K-State women's basketball team may not have ended their season on a high note, head coach Jeff Mitty says there's a lot to be proud of.
MHK All Day reporter Mason Voth has this and more right now in sports. Mason?
Thanks, Braxton. K-State women's basketball team took a tough loss in their season last Friday night. The K-State women went down 69-71 against the UC Davis Aggies in the round of 16. The Wildcats were led by Kayla Goff and Peyton Williams, who combined for 47 of the 69 points scored by the Cats. It was a close game with 14 lead changes, but it ultimately ended the season for the Cats and the careers of the seniors. Wildcat seniors Kaylee Page and Shaylin Martin will not be returning after this season, along with Karila Middlebrook, whose career was ended early due to injury. However, 8 letter winners, including Goff and Williams, will be returning, along with a well-ranked recruiting class. Even with a strong base coming back for the Wildcats, Coach Mitty says the seniors will be missed.
What I would say about all of them is they're just really quality people, and you know what you're going to get from them consistency-wise all the time at practice. And they leave it on the line for K-State. They leave it on the line for each other, and through all the highs and lows, they've really done some good things.
Kansas State hosted the first of a 3-game series against the University of Texas at Tointon Stadium Thursday night, toppling the 16-10 Longhorns 5-2. The Wildcats started the scoring early with Trent McMaster scoring on Team K McCorder's double down the left field line. The Wildcats weren't done yet as Brett Owen drove home 2 more runs with a double to right center, making it a 3-0 game. The Longhorns struck back in the third, dropping the lead to 2 with Tate Shaw driving in Austin Todd with a single through the right side. K-State scored again in the bottom of the 4th with McCorder yet again bringing in a run, this time a single bringing in Rainer Osmus. Things were quiet until the top of the 7th when Mason Hibbler hit a sacrifice fly to score 1 run and make it a 4-2 game. The Wildcats added 1 more run of insurance in the bottom of the 8th. Kyle Barfield scored on a wild pitch by the Horns. The Wildcats will continue the series today at 6:30, and the final game will be on Saturday at 1 o'clock. Some athletes move across the country to play here at K-State, others across the ocean. Channel 8 reporter Jared Sleppy takes a look how these athletes handled the transition.
Kansas State University is home to 21,400 students. From these, over 1,700 of them come from 100-plus different countries to further their education, experience a different culture, and achieve the American dream. But for some students like Inish Meshkita, a sophomore on the tennis team from Portugal, they come to improve athletically and compete against some of the best competition in the world.
I didn't know much about the United States when I first came here, and Danielle talked to me on Facebook, and she went to Portugal to talk to me about it. And she told me about all the qualities at school and tennis.
She might have had to drop everything she had to live a new life in the States, but so far she has been loving her new life at Kansas State. However, as you would imagine, it was not an easy transition at first.
Some nights I just wanted to go home at the beginning, but then I just thought about the support everybody was giving me, not only the coaches and team, but also in the academics.
Of the 8 players on the tennis team, 6 of them are from foreign countries, and the coaches and teammates are doing everything they can to feel well adjusted.
All of the girls are very supportive of each other and are not only meshing well on the court, but off the court as well.
We eat together, we do a lot of fun stuff together. So traveling is one of the main things we're doing together, and we always have a lot of fun.
Overall, this team has come together very well and are currently ranked number 32 in the country. In Manhattan, I'm Jared Sleppy, Channel 8 News.
That's all we have for sports. Back to you, Braxton and Callie.
Thanks, Mason. Coming up after the break, find out what stories took social media by storm this week.
And how students are making movie magic within 48 hours.
Bases loaded, 1 out. Bottom of the 9th. Cats and Sooners tied at 5, and the Cats trying to win a Big 12 title for the first time ever. Outside, it gets away to the plate. Kansas State has its title.
Ships it in the middle, a header into the goal, and a score for K-State.
Research. It's applying the bigger picture toward the greater good. Defending the world from adversaries, both seen and unseen. Interpreting realities to unlock solutions. It's our land-grant mission to serve our world utilizing sharp minds, from first-year students to world-renowned experts. What makes research so strong at Kansas State University? Vision. Progress. You.
Schultz one, high and deep to left, goodbye.
Shot to right. K-State's going to try and score 2. Another play at the plate, but this time Brennan slides past the tag. And Brad Hill is the all-time winningest coach in K-State history.
We are groundbreaking educators, laser-focused on inspiring students and sparking solutions. We are dedicated professionals, keeping campus safe, accessible, and inviting. We have big responsibilities, entrusted with serving our community and world. We are Kansas State University faculty and staff, and we have many titles, but one vision: always put family first. What turns profession into passion? Selflessness, integrity, you.
Welcome back to MHK All Day. This is What's Trending, where we take a look at the world and pop culture through a social media lens because, after all, what happens on the internet never really stays there. Major League Baseball opened the 2018-2019 season yesterday, and of course, fans came out in droves to celebrate the Boys of Summer. Now, if you're like me, you're hoping the club you choose to root for doesn't make it all the way to the World Series, only to flush all hope down the toilet. But that was then, and this is now. For all you Royals fans out there, check out this tweet from Rex Hudler with the opening day hashtag, a beautiful shot of the Star Spangled Banner before the first pitch at the K. Earlier this week, Fox host Lauren Ingram took to Twitter to point out that Parkland school shooting survivor David Hogg had been denied by multiple colleges, including UCLA. Now, all is fair in keyboard wars. Hogg decided to take the fight to Ingram's advertisers for a TV show with this tweet challenging people to contact the 12 companies that poured the most ad dollars into Ingram's platform. 5 companies, TripAdvisor, Wayfair, Hulu, Nestle, and Nutrish, have all put their ads as of Thursday. And finally, imagine allegedly stealing thousands of dollars from your college or university your entire academic career, and just short of graduation, have it all go up in flames. That's what happened to Howard University graduate student Tyrone Hankerson Jr., who has been accused of embezzling more than $400,000 from the university throughout his time in D.C. All of this thanks to bogus scholarships and grants. The university has been under scrutiny for misuse of funds and even fired some of their employees. But of course, it didn't take long for him to become a trending hashtag. Now, Tyrone has maintained his innocence, but I'm sure he has to be somewhere thinking that he would have got away with it if it wasn't for you meddling kids. That's all for this week in What's Trending. Back to you at the desk, Callie.
Thanks, Braxton. Speaking of meddling kids, you may notice several sleep-deprived K-State students wandering campus this weekend. Last night, students gathered together on campus to kick off the 3rd annual K-State 48-Hour Film Fest. In this competition, 15 teams will have just 2 days from 7 p.m. Thursday to 7 p.m. Saturday to complete their short film that is 2 to 7 minutes long. These productions must include 3 elements with a specific location, prop, and line of dialogue. The teams will then be evaluated by a panel of judges based on technical skill, storytelling ability, and artistic elements. Next week, all competitors will reconvene to review their productions together. The triumphant teams stand to win a combined $10,000 in prizes from top media companies. I will be participating in the 48-Hour Film Fest, and that is all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for tuning in to MHK All Day, and I won't be getting much sleep tonight.
This is Channel 8 News.